class. Okay, let's see. Kanika, why don't you read the verse? So you can just read the translation from here and the purport, and then I can start the class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of dynamic nature, O son of Pratha. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The Dominic want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. They're always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demonic qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the womb of their mothers. As they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities.
Yeah, perfect. Kanika, just a quick one. Is this like your first time reading Bhagavad Gita? Have you read this before?
No, it's the first time.
First time, okay. So I'll just give you a brief description because the rest of the people have been coming. So I just don't wanna overload you with too much things. So basically, in this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is describing Arjuna different qualities, the two main qualities in men, that is divine and demoniac. So what is divine nature and demoniac nature? So last class we were discussing this. So, in this, it is written that fearlessness, purification of existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self control, performance of sacrifice, study of Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living beings, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from passion for honor. These are transcendental qualities which belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So basically, if you read this, this basically tells you all the qualities of people of divine nature. Uh, in your free time, you can have a read through the purport. It's very interesting. And then now Krishna goes around telling Arjuna about what are the demoniac qualities. Okay, so now before we get into what exactly is divine and demoniac, what is exactly this nature that is being referred to? So if you see, everything in this world has a characteristic, right? For example, and given this example in the previous class as well, that the characteristic of a chili is supposed to be spicy. You know, when you bite a chili, you know that it's going to be spicy. The characteristic of fire is that it's going to burn. A characteristic of a snake is that it goes and bites animals unnecessarily. So in Sanskrit, characteristic is called dharma. So dharma is basically the essential natural characteristic of a person. So what is their natural characteristic require them to do, right? So if a chili, you'll never see, like for example, a snake be very peaceful. It's always going to bite. You'll never see, for example, a elephant go and eat another animal because the elephant is herbivorous. Why? Because that's the characteristic of an elephant. So everything in nature has a particular characteristic or dharma. You know, now, the example of a snake that was given is that a snake is actually said to be a very envious creature as per the Shastras as well. Snake is always envious and always, wrathful. It's always angry and unnecessarily it will bite. It's not like the snake is, unless you provoke the snake, it will bite you. You see, so many times there are instances where a snake is just passing by, it sees an animal, and unnecessarily it will go and bite the animal and it will kill the animal because it's got poison. So this is so as per the Shastras, there are two kinds of envious animals. The first is snake and the second is man. This is said by Chanakya Pandit that there are two types of envious animals, snake and man. Now, the thing is, the snake bite can be cured by certain herbs. There are a lot of medications for treating snake bites. There are herbs, there are medicines. It can be removed by suction. There are many ways of getting rid of snake bite. So snake bite is not very lethal, but a snake-like person is cannot be subdued at all. A snake-like person is very, very torturous to society, very problematic to society. And we are trying to understand basically in this chapter what are the characteristics of such snake-like people. And this is what we call godly and demoniac. So demoniac person is basically a snake-like person, or in Sanskrit they say asur. Asur basically means demon. So asuric qualities are basically demoniac natures. Now, both qualities, divine and demoniac, lead to how you interact with the material world. So, in the beginning, Krishna explains to Arjuna that you are actually not this body, right? This body is temporary. You were saying that you're changing bodies from birth after birth. Even in this life, you see that you've changed bodies. Dehinosmi yatha dehe kaumaram yovaram jara. That means that Krishna is telling Arjuna that from childhood to youth to old age, a person is changing bodies. The soul is changing bodies. Just like you change clothes, one day you wear a jacket, second day you wear a different color hoodie. You're just changing, but the person inside is remaining the same. Similarly, you're changing bodies, but the soul is eternal, and it's just changing bodies. It's experiencing life, but we foolishly identify with this body. Once we get this temporary body, we know very well that it's temporary. In front of us, we can see we are changing. When in childhood, we see we were small, we had our hands were so small, we could barely, I remember when I was a kid, I could not even climb up the sink to brush my teeth. I was that short. And then over years now, I'm very tall, like the sink. I have to look down for the sink. So I can see that my body physically has changed. However, the person who's experiencing this life, this consciousness, the soul is eternal. That's what's said by Krishna. So he says that when we come into material nature, this world around us is material world. Okay, why is it called material world? Because material world is actually lifeless matter. It's just substance, right? There's no life to it. There's a difference between an animal and for example, let's say a wall or a stone. Stone has no consciousness in it. You can break the stone, tear it into pieces, crush it into pieces. The stone won't feel anything because there's no consciousness existing in it. However, if like you pinch yourself in the arm, you can feel pain. Why? Because there is consciousness in you. So there is a difference. So the consciousness is called spiritual energy of Krishna or spiritual energy of God, and matter is the inferior energy or the material energy of God. So these are the two energies. Now, what happens is when the soul comes in contact with material nature, it starts identifying with it. It starts exploiting it for its enjoyment. A person, when they take up this body, they get so identified with the body that their entire life and all the activities that they do in life is to please this temporary body. How can I eat good food? How can I enjoy a nice nap? It's continuously thinking of ways how can I build a good house to maintain this body. It's continuously making endeavors to please this body, right? Now, what we don't realize is the more we try to please the body, because the body is temporary, no matter how much money you invest, no matter what activities you do, eventually the body is going to decay and get destroyed. Everybody is going to leave their body eventually. But the soul is permanent. Now, what happens is the soul, it's so completely attached with this temporary bodily situation that it keeps on making more endeavors in material nature, but it gets entangled. Like if you've seen a spider web, and an insect will come, what the spider does is it leaves some grain or some food particle in the web, so it attracts some insect. When the insect comes, it's just looking at the food particle. It's not looking at the entire cobweb that the spider has designed to trap it. So the insect will nicely just crawl into the web, and it will try to go for the food. But now as it's entered the cobweb, the more it's walking, the more its legs get entangled by the web. It's getting more and more trapped, and by the end it's completely stuck, completely entangled. It has no way to move. It's completely coiled by the spider web. And what happens then? The spider comes and eats up the insect that is nicely now just waiting for the spider to come and eat. Why? Because he's entangled by the cobweb. Similarly, a soul, even though we are part of Lord's superior energy, when we come in contact with material nature to enjoy falsely, everybody who has come to material world, in this material world, is trying to enjoy in some way or the other, be it an animal, be it a human. A pig is enjoying by eating, like playing around in mud. A human being is enjoying by going on vacations. Everybody has different sense or different ideas of enjoyment, but the main thing is that everybody is looking for enjoyment, from a small ant to a grown human being. Everybody is looking for enjoyment. In this material world, however, we are falsely trying to enjoy, not realizing like we are actually the insect. The insect is looking at that food particle. For us, that food particle is enjoyment. We're looking for some sort of pleasure. And when we do activities, we get more involved, entangled. For example, a person wants to buy a very expensive, BMW car. He saves money, he works very hard, and then he takes a loan and he buys the car. Now, it's a temporary enjoyment. He'll enjoy for 1 day, 2 day, let's say a week or a month at max. After that, it's just a bondage. Now he has to work day and night to pay off the car loans. If there's a small accident to the car, it gets on his head because now he's invested so much money. He gets physically pained if there's any damage to the car. There is more material bondage now. So the more endeavors we do in this material world for our own sense gratification, for our own pleasure, the more entangled we get. Now, what Krishna is saying is this body, basically, the soul passes from body to body based on your desires. So, what you desire, Krishna actually makes provision for you to get it. Krishna is very, or God is very merciful in that way. Whatever you desire, you give. Unfortunately, we don't know what to desire for, right? So, we desire for animalistic things. What do animals do? They do eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Those are the four traits of animals. Human beings are doing the same thing with just more intelligence. We are eating with more conveniences. We have got Uber Eats, this, that, an animal has to hunt a deer. We have just got more, we are doing animalistic things more intelligently, right? But what we don't realize is if our consciousness is animalistic, continuously we wake up and we think, what can I put in? How can I eat something? How can I defend? Defend means what? Buying a big house, protecting your identity, defending your identity. How can I invest in property, stock market, this, that? And our mind is continuously stuck in that. We are actually entangled by material nature. And based on our desires, we get a body. We are changing bodies. Now, the more you are trying to exploit material nature, the more and more we get entangled into it. And the only way where we can get free from this repeated cycle of birth and death is by turning towards God or Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is actually saying, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarva pravartate. That means that Aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am everything in this world emanates from me, whether it's material, gross material, non-living entities, or spiritual, like the soul that's in the body of all of us, the consciousness that's living. Everything is actually emanating from me, right? Now, how does a soul come into this material world? A soul comes into this material world with the objective to enjoy independently of God, because God is actually the supreme powerful, supreme enjoyer, and the supreme knower. God is called Satchit Ananda, eternal, truthful, and all blissful. Ananda means all blissful. God is everything about God, his activities, everything is very blissful. So, when we try to enjoy independently, then we are put into material nature, which is controlled by illusionary energy called Maya Shakti. Now, this material world is actually run by Maya Shakti. What Maya Shakti does is Maya puts a blindfold on our eyes so that we cannot see God's hand in everything, and it tries to give us an illusion that we are enjoying. It gives us this idea that you are enjoying. You, in the material world, you can have your own family, your own kids, and you will think that, oh, I have some control over this, I am expanding myself. And we make ourselves the center of this world. We think everything in this world actually revolves around us. We think, how can this thing give me pleasure? We're trying to look for pleasure in everything. We're trying to be the enjoyer, not realizing that in the Shastras it actually says the material world is dukkhalayam ashashatam. That means it's temporary and it's full of suffering, full of misery. There is no actual enjoyment in the material world. It is purposely made by illusionary energy because we try to falsely be the enjoyer. So, illusionary energy attacks us with three types of distresses in the material world. The first is Adhyatmic, which is distresses caused by our own selves, like our own mind. there's so many cases of depression, anxiety. Why? Because you are causing distress to yourself. You're continuously thinking negative thoughts, adding stress to your mind, and the mind is actually causing your pain and suffering. So that is adhyatmic klesh. Then there is adi bhautik. Adi bhautik is distress caused by other living entities. A friend comes and insults you. You see so many cases where bullying happens, and the person who's got bullied, he then commits suicide because it was too torturous. Two things happen: adi bhautmik and adhyatmik, where somebody else tortured him, and then he also started torturing himself in his mind, and that's why these kind of things happen. Or you see like a animal comes and bites, a snake bites you, you get attacked by a wild animal, or there's a fight, a physical fight with another human being, and you get hurt, physically injured. So those are Adi Bhautmik Klesh, which is Adi Bhautik Klesh, which means that distress caused by other living entities. And third is Adi Devik Klesh. Adi Devik Klesh is distress is caused by natural calamities. We say demigods. Now, demigods is basically for every aspect in this material world, there is a demigod. Like for wind, there is Vayu. Then for lightning and thunder, there is Indra. Then there is Varun for water. So everything is actually controlled by a supreme consciousness. So any distress caused by natural calamity, there are tsunamis where entire houses and families are wiped out, or the hurricanes, or some natural calamities, and it causes you distress. These are the three distresses in material world. Adi Atmic, distresses caused by our own selves. Adi Bhautik, distresses caused by other living entities to us. And third is Adi Daivik, which is distresses caused by natural calamities, external factors. So these are continuously the three, we can say missiles that are coming and attacking us in this material world. And this goes on in birth after birth. We try to enjoy. We think that, okay, I'll enjoy like this, enjoy like that. And based on our desires, Krishna is making our life, is tailoring our life to give us that enjoyment, but we don't realize that actually there is no enjoyment in that, and we are just simply suffering. So these are the three distresses. How does one get free? When we finally turn towards God and we try to understand that eventually that is not our true position is not in this material world. Our true position is actually in the spiritual world. Okay, so material world is where the spirit soul, the consciousness has taken up a material body and now is stuck in that. It's embodied in that, it's captured in that. Now there is actually an original identity of a spirit soul which is in the spiritual world. Now Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita actually tries to explain. First, he explains the nature of the soul, then how he gets embodied, what is this material world, then what is time, how is time playing an effect in all of this, how over time we are changing bodies. All of this is explained, and the main idea of this is to get free from this cycle of birth and death, because the actual perfection of human life, human beings are more superior than animals, and the actual aim and perfection of human life is not to eat good food and drink and be merry. It's to make endeavors to understand how can one be free from birth, death, old age, and disease. That's the actual purpose of human life, and that is what Krishna is saying. So demoniac qualities are basically people who don't care about all of this. Their entire life is revolving around how can I enjoy more. So we can see what are the qualities of a demoniac person: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. Why does all this come? Why does pride come? Pride is when a person is too identified with their the false identity that they've taken up in this world. You'll see people, they'll be very boastful that, oh, I'm the senior manager in this company, I'm the branch manager of this bank, or I am from this university, I've got double degrees, I've got PhD and this and that. They're very boastful, they're very proud. Why? Because they're falsely identified. Now the main distinction between demoniac and divine is demoniac leads to further bondage. A person with demoniac tendencies is getting more and more entrapped, just like the insect. I gave the example that insect gets into the spider web and he gets more and more entangled. Similarly, a demoniac person, by his qualities, he's getting more and more entangled or stuck in this material world. He's causing more bondage. That's why you'll see they are very proud, they're very arrogant, because why? They're very identified with this temporary body. They think I am this temporary body and my entire life revolves around how can I give pleasure to this body. That's why they'll be very proud, very angry, very arrogant. They'll get angry very quickly. Why? Because this little bit of somebody trying to hurt their false ego, they suddenly get very triggered. And ignorance, they know that this body is temporary, this body is going to decay, you're not going to carry your wealth and possessions to the grave. However, they still are continuously they're neglecting that and making more and more endeavors. They're cheating people, looting people, manipulating people just to accumulate more wealth. So these are the qualities. And a divine quality is basically a quality for people who are interested in getting liberated. They finally realize that I have tried all endeavors to get pleasure in this life. There is no true material happiness. All material happiness is illusionary. My only pleasure lies in understanding my original self, which is the spirit soul, and then get making endeavors to be free from the cycle of birth and death and go back to my original position as spirit soul, as part and parcel of God, because God is the emanation of everything, and our original identity also was as part and parcels of God. So that is what a person tries to achieve when they are in the divine qualities. And demoniac qualities is just the opposite. They are just continuously trying to make endeavors to be more and more uh, entrapped by material nature. And Krishna is very partial. I mean, he's very equal. He's impartial. He's equal to all. He's equal to both demoniac people and divine people. The only thing is, so Krishna, whatever you desire, he sanctions it. He allows you to get it. So if you want to get more get more bondage in this material world and continue the cycle of birth and death, Krishna actually makes first class provisions for you. He'll provide everything that you need to get more bondage. But at the same time, if you desire to be liberated from this cycle of birth and death and go back to the spiritual world, then Krishna will immediately make arrangements in your life where those divine qualities will naturally occur into you. He will create circumstances, get people in your life who can give you this, help you achieve your goal of liberation. So that is just a rough idea of divine and demonic qualities. Actually, I thought I'll try to finish this chapter, but I doubt we'll be finishing this because it's pretty heavy topic, and I want to make. Kanika, am I, by the way, is it going over the head or are you able to follow? If I'm getting too complicated, you can let me know. I have a habit of getting too complex.
No, I can understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime it goes overhead, you can let me know. I'll try to make it more simplified because I
Okay.
have a habit of going too too complex. Okay, so let's see. Vicente, can you read the translation and purport?
Um, the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities.
Yeah, you can read. Yeah,
Purport.
yeah.
Yep. Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna by telling him that he was not born with demoniac qualities. His involvement in the fight was not demoniac because he was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respectable persons such as Bhishma and Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, or harshness. Therefore, he was not of the quality of the demons. For a Satriya, a military man, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such a duty is demoniac. Therefore, there was no cause for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs the regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendentally situated.
Yeah, so Krishna actually explains to Arjuna both divine and demoniac qualities. And to give consolation to Arjuna, he lets him know that you don't worry because you are born of divine qualities. So, how does this Bhagavad Gita actually start? Bhagavad Gita starts when, Kanika, you aware of the Mahabharata, right? You have a basic idea of Mahabharata?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mahabharata, both armies are in the battlefield. That's the setting of Bhagavad Gita. Both the Pandava army and the Kaurava army on the battlefield, ready to begin the war. Large number of troops on both sides, and Arjuna, who's like the one of the, I mean, literally the strongest warriors in the Pandava army, and in general also he's one of the strongest warriors. He requests Krishna, who's playing the part of his charioteer, who's driving his chariot, that he requests him that he take me in the middle of the battlefield. I want to see both armies before I start the war. And the second Krishna does this, actually, Krishna, even though externally he's playing the role of the charioteer, everybody, like, everybody knows that he's actually the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the supreme Lord himself who's come, and because he is so you know he's so he loves his devotees so much, he's ready to take up a role of a charioteer, somebody who's a low a charioteer is actually like a servant of a person. So Krishna is actually playing the role of a charioteer just for his devotees. And in reality, in the Mahabharata, everything was being controlled by Krishna. It wasn't being controlled by that. Krishna Lord actually controls the situations. We are just witnessing what we desire, right? So Krishna listens to Arjuna, and he drives the chariot in the middle of the both the armies. When Arjuna sees that on the other side there is the Kaurav army, and in the Kaurav army consists of his brothers, his guru Dronacharya, his grandfather Bhishma Pitama. When he sees all of that, then he gets very anxious. He gets very afraid and perplexed. He drops his bow from his hand. His hand starts shaking. His forehead starts sweating, and his voice starts choking up, and he's all tearful, and he goes into a fit almost. He tells Krishna that I cannot fight. Why am I killing my relatives like that? What will I achieve by killing them? How is this a duty of a man? Won't I occur so much sin by killing them? Am I not a demoniac person if I kill them? What kind of a sinful person will I be if I kill so many people? So then Krishna, after listening to Arjuna at such a crucial time of the war, just before the war is starting, he is completely doubting, and he's in a completely afraid situation, not ready to fight. He's very scared. Then Krishna tries to console him by giving him the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. In reality, the knowledge of Arjuna didn't need the knowledge of Gita. Arjuna was a very self-realized soul. But the Gita was spoken to Arjuna for us, for the present generation, because we all actually go through that situation in life, and we all, the answers that are given by Krishna to Arjuna are actually answering some of the questions we have. So to answer Arjuna's doubt, if I am demoniac or demon for doing my duty, a Kshatriya, a soldier, is his duty is supposed to fight in the war, right? That was his duty. But Arjuna was afraid, if I kill people, what if I get a lot of sin? Because I know that by killing people, I'll accumulate a lot of sin. Krishna tells him actually that you are actually a Kshatriya. A Kshatriya, so it's given over here. A Kshatriya, a military man, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such duty is demoniac. So it's not that if you want to be a divine saintly person, you have to go to the hills and meditate and be very peaceful and non-violent. What Krishna is trying to explain to us is being a saintly divine person is actually discharging your duties perfectly. If your whatever duties you've got in life, you need to do them to the best possible way you can, not run away from them on the pretext of being very saintly. A lot of people are escapists. They, in the name of spirituality, they say that, oh, all this is meaningless. What is the point of getting a university degree? I mean, working hard in life and all that. I'll just renounce everything. I'll give up everything, and I'll sit in the hills and walk. In India, this is very prevalent actually. But what we don't realize is Krishna himself is saying that running away from your responsibilities is not actually a divine or saintly quality, it's actually demoniac. For a Kshatriya, Arjuna was a Kshatriya, you need to take on your duty of killing the opponent, the enemy soldiers, and that will actually be your divine quality. That is the saintly characteristic for you. It is not that you can suddenly run away from this and then think that you're a very big saint. So he is also telling, he's and also consoling Arjuna that you are actually, what you're doing is a divine saintly act. So don't run away from it, or don't be doubtful towards it. Um, yep. So let's go on the next text. Shohil, can you read this? Just a translation of
Oh,
the Prabhupada.
Brother, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demonic. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demonic. Lord Krishna, having assured Arjuna that he was born with the divine qualities, is now describing the demonic way. The conditioned living entities are divided into two classes in this world. Those who are born with divine qualities follow a regulated life, that is to say, they abide by the injunctions in scriptures and by the authorities. One should perform duties in the light of authoritative scriptures. This mentality is called divine. One who does not follow the regulative principles as they are laid down in the scriptures and who acts according to his whims is called demonic or ascetic. There is no other criteria but obedience to the regulated principles of scriptures. It is mentioned in Vedic literatures that both the demigods and the demons are both the Prajapati. The only difference is that one class obeys the Vedic injunctions and the other does not.
Yep. So Krishna has given Arjuna a good idea of what divine qualities are. Can you guys name a few very quickly? Shohil, what do you remember? And Vincent, you also were there last class. Tell me,
Charity,
sorry,
charity,
charity, yep.
charity, um,
Vicente,
uh,
Sacrifice,
sacrifice,
truthfulness,
truthfulness, yep.
not given to anger.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So those are,
The,
cleanliness,
yeah, there
yeah,
were like 26
cleanliness,
qualities.
yeah,
But yeah,
cleanliness,
those are some of them. Charity, truthfulness, cleanliness, devoid of false sense of prestige and pride. All of them are
self-control is one, yeah,
self-control. Yep, very
yeah, that's
good.
one.
So these are all divine qualities. Now, people, now what we see is everybody is born with particular qualities, right? Now, as I said, the soul is passing from body to body. The soul is eternal. So even though your physical body, this temporary body which is made out of food and water and all the stuff that you put in, it's coming out as this physical body or the gross body, that is temporary. We can see that practically over age. You'll see, when you reach 80, your back there, you see so many people having back problems. The liquid in their joints start drying up. There are all sorts of issues. What is that? Basically your body is deteriorating. The kidney failures, this issue, that issue, all of that is basically showing that your temporary body is deteriorating. However, the subtle body, mind and the intelligence, that is permanent. That carries on with the next life as well. And there is actually, if we see, this is true because even though, like all babies, even though they are born from mother's womb, they are all born with different qualities. In a classroom also, there you'll see distinct difference in qualities between each children. Even though they're going to the same school, they're coming in the same, bus, they're interacting with the same people, they, let's say, they're eating also the same kind of food. In spite of doing all of them, you'll see distinctly different qualities in all of them. Like, why is that? That's actually because you're carrying your subtle impressions. In Sanskrit, it's called vasanas. You're carrying these vasanas that you collect over life. So in this life, you're collecting impressions, right? You're collecting habits and all of that. And over time, it's just getting passed on through life after life. Your life experiences, they change your habits a little bit, and then you carry it to the next life. So these impressions are actually very strong and very, stuck on us. It's very difficult to get rid of these vasanas so easily. And we will see, like, if you think, I was, one lecture I saw, and it was saying you'll see people who are too habituated to stealing in their past life, who were like thieves or always had a habit of stealing. Uh, you'll see a lot of kids, they have a habit of stealing. They'll go to the school, and if they see like extra pen, they'll just, it's not theirs, they'll just put it in a pocket and bring it home. Or you'll see people who are too habituated in lying. Sorry, just give me a second. Yeah. Too habituated in lying. Uh, or some people, very young age, they become wonderful singers. They're very good at singing. Why is all of that? Those are actually your past impressions that you've carried. And Krishna is so merciful that he after every birth, basically, it's like a wipe off of your memory. You forget about your past life. You don't remember who you were in the past life, what you were, what did you do, how did you die, how were you born. You don't remember any of that. But these impressions still subtly are carried with you. So, supposing you were working very hard to become a singer, in the next life, you actually get those circumstances which are actually very conducive for you to become a singer. That is just one example. Whatever work you do in this life, in the next life, it's carried on. That is called as karma. So these vasanas and karmas are very, very strong. And these actually, so people who are demoniac nature also and divine nature, they actually carry these qualities life after life. People who are, arrogant and proud and all of that, they actually carry all of that in the next life as well. Similarly, people who are divine, very charitable, very honest, very truthful, they are also carrying those qualities in the next life. Now, what we don't realize is both of them, the Lord is equal to both of them. It's not like Lord is partial towards the divine and impartial towards the demoniac. Only difference is it is our own self that is causing distress. We ourselves want to become demoniac. We do endeavors in life to become demoniac. We are so attached in this temporary sense gratification that we, do get all these demoniac qualities: cheating, lying, arrogance, pride, manipulation, falsehood, all of them, all these demoniac qualities we cultivate for sense gratification without realizing that this is temporary. And Krishna, then he just provides us our desires. So, he is pleased with the devotee, however, a person of divine qualities. Why? Because a person of divine quality is now actually controlling his senses. A person of demoniac qualities is overindulging his senses. Oh, I want to eat, I'll eat like mad. Oh, I want to drink, I'll smoke, I'll, have sexual relationship, I'll do this, do that, I'll live my life as per my whims and fancies. Biggest trait of a demoniac person is he'll go against the scripture and the principles given in scriptures. In the scriptures, it's given four regulative principles that we still follow: is no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication. These are the four principles that majority, like there are many more, but the majority of the scriptures talk about these four principles. These four things we should avoid. These are very sinful. That is meat eating, killing another animal, thinking that an animal is just a piece of matter and you can just cut it for your own sense gratification. You're killing another animal, and there are videos like when the cows are separated from their calves, their kids at a very young age, and the cows are tortured and mistreated. You'll see in slaughterhouses, they're put in one line, and the cow can literally see its relative, like its brother or something, being thrown in a machine where there are blades, and they're just chopping off the animal for the meat. Very demoniac thing, actually, slaughtering animals for years. And what is the main reason? Why? Because people want to please their tongue. I want to eat meat, so that's why I'm killing an animal, without considering the fact that animal is also spirit soul. It has consciousness, and it's also going through suffering. We are actually putting an animal unnecessarily for under suffering for our own sense pleasure. So that's why meat eating is so restricted. Intoxication. Why? Because intoxication bewilders the mind and intelligence. It gives you a false or deluded idea of reality, and it also hampers your intelligence. So people, you'll see, even though they might be very sane and very normal in their daily lives, in their professional lives, you'll see they start committing all sorts of harmful acts for themselves and for others when they're under intoxication. Like I've seen so many cases, drunk drivers will come and they'll just run over people on the road, or people, they'll get drunk and they'll start fighting, and they start smashing bottles on each other's head, and then there's bleeding, and sometimes it even leads to death. Or they commit crimes. You'll see a drug addict goes into a bank and starts robbing people. Recently, there was a case, I think. There was some drug addict who was going and stabbing people in Australia only. So there are all these things. So we can see how intoxication actually bewilders the mind and intelligence, and it causes these types of sinful reaction. Gambling also. Gambling leads to the biggest sinful quality. Like what is that? Falsehood, cheating, lying, deceit, manipulation. All of that comes from gambling. For entire Mahabharata also, if you think about it, happened because of gambling only, where they, by schemes of manipulation, they tried to take over the kingdom, and then there was conflict between families, and so many people died. So we can see how gambling is also affecting, not now, but all throughout society. And same with illicit sex. Illicit sex is sex outside your legal marriage, your actual marriage. So many, as there was a case in America where a man found out that his wife was actually cheating on him with some other person, and he went to that guy's house with a shotgun and just blew his head off in just cold-blooded murder. He just went to his house, knocked on his door, he opened, he shot him, and he left. And the American jury didn't even put him in trial properly. Like, he was released very quickly because we see the illicit relationships actually cause a lot of damage. It's very, very harmful. Most of the scriptures also, like Mahabharata, happened because of this, lust. Even Ramayana, Ravan was lusty behind another man's wife, Sita, and he tried to kidnap her by unjust means. And because of that, an entire race of Rakshasas were wiped out, and so much death and destruction happened. So all this was recognized even in ancient times, that how illicit relationships are actually causing so much distress. Even today, we see in those live-in relationships, or people are not committing to marriages. What they're doing is they'll have a relationship, and when the lady gets pregnant, the man will run away, and now the lady is left alone with the child. In fact, in United States, the government has to when they're coming up with their budget, they have to save a large amount for single mothers, because it's such a big crisis in America. So many single mothers with a lot of children are now stuck homeless, stranded with no income, because their husband is not there to protect them. The husband is gone. He's after having kid, he just disappears. He abandons the family. All that, and the main objective of marriage is to bring about responsibility. When people negate responsibility, then destruction in society happens. So we see all of this. Demoniac person will purposely go against the scripture. He will break these regulative principles, and therefore he gets more and more in bondage. I don't think we have much time. What we can do is we can continue the rest later. I'll now expand on this idea of divine and demoniac, because I don't want to overload. Plus, Kanika is new, so I don't want to overload her with too much information. So I'll just clarify this demoniac and divine nature a little bit, and then we can conclude the class. So what we see is that a devotee, a person of divine qualities, actually, he is now putting God in the center. He's not putting himself in the center. All his actions are not, or activities are not to please himself. It's to please God. It's for God's pleasure. And God is actually very pleased by people with these qualities, divine qualities. When he sees that a person is actually endeavoring, trying to understand who God's nature is by reading scriptures, by chanting his holy name, by doing some sort of devotional service, God is very pleased. So what he does is, very quickly he makes arrangements for these type of people. I have practical experience. There was this person in the temple who I was speaking to, and he was looking for an apartment near the temple, because he really liked the atmosphere of the temple, and he really wanted to stay close to the temple. But he had a apartment which was in West Sydney, very far away from the temple, and he had already signed his bond and everything. And he was just on the day where he was about to sign his bond and move into the new house. That day, he just happened to go into the temple. He said, "Let me just go to the temple." He had a very deep desire, I want to stay close to the temple. And he was very upset that I have to stay so far away. West Sydney is very far away from the North Sydney temple. So, in the last day, just before he was going to sign the bond, he went to the temple. And when he was in the temple, he was just, happening to talk to some other devotees, and he actually came to know that one of the people, they had a house just like 3 or 4 minutes away from the temple, and they were actually looking for a roommate. And he so happened to come right on time, and they said, "Oh, you're looking for a house? Actually, we have one room vacant, and we were looking for a roommate." So he moved in with them on the last moment, just 1 hour. If he would have got delayed, he would have signed the bond to the Parameta house. So we see how Krishna reciprocates with you. Krishna says, "Naham sarvasya prabhavo." It means Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, which means that I am not visible to everybody. I make my distinction on who I want to make myself visible to. I am not visible to Mudo Nabi Janati. Mudo, these foolish men who deny my existence and try to prove everything by their own mental speculation, not realizing that their intelligence also has come from me. I do not appear in front of these people. I don't make myself visible. I keep myself hidden in front of these people, and they don't know that I am eternal and unborn. Mudo yam nabi janati loko mam ajam avyayam. That they don't know that I'm ajam, unborn, and avyayam, unexhaustible. So Krishna is actually saying that he makes distinction. He's visible to the devotees. The devotees can see Krishna's hand in everything. They can see Krishna's hand in each and every aspect of their life. But a demoniac person, he is completely devoid of God. He has no idea about God's existence. God, he purposely wants to be in ignorance, because when he understands that God exists, then he won't be able to enjoy this sense gratification. So he purposely tries to stay in ignorance. And Krishna, he just basically gives you what you want. If you desire to be devoid of God, he will make perfect first class arrangements so that you cannot understand God no matter how much you try, right? So God is actually very pleased with the people with divine qualities, saintly qualities, and he gives them what they want, their desires, very quickly, because they don't desire for selfish things. They desire for ways to please God. They'll desire, oh Lord, I want to do some service for you, and then Lord will make arrangements like that. I am interested in reading the Bhagavad Gita. You will come across Bhagavad Gita youth class, something like that. God makes arrangements. I have practical experience as well, and I'm sure over time you guys also will if you don't already have. But with the demoniac people, Lord actually goes by the rules of material nature. Now, even though you might desire something, it's not like you're going to get it. There is something called karma which plays into role. If you have the correct qualification to get it, only then can you get awarded. You know, you may want to be a millionaire, but if your actions don't qualify you to become a millionaire, if you've not done anything, no endeavors made, then no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you desire, you won't become a millionaire. You need to actually perform. So people of demoniac tendencies who are looking for selfish endeavors, they are actually, Lord only gives them things based on their karma. Only if they are qualified to receive something, they get it. Otherwise, they are continuously bewildered by material nature. And our true material in this material world, the only way we can get rid of suffering is by going to Vrindavan. Now, what is Vrindavan? Vrindavan is a spiritual world where everybody's endeavor is made for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. If you see in Vrindavan, from the cowherd boys to the cows to the gopis, everybody is actually working very hard day and night for the pleasure of Krishna, and in return they are also getting happy. I've given this example before, like a mother when she's cooking for the child, even though she's not actually eating the food, she's getting a lot of pleasure by feeding her child. She's feeling very joyful. She goes out of her way to make food for the child because she's happy to see her child, eat that food. So, like that, when we serve the Lord, we are actually getting that transcendental love, that transcendental bliss by service of the Lord. We are being the perfect instrument in Lord's plan, and in return we are getting that transcendental love feeling. And that is actually the original position of the soul. The soul, in my scriptures it said jiva swarup hoy Krishna nitya das. That jiva, the soul's swarup, the jiva, the soul's actual origin, the actual position is Krishna's Nitya Das, Krishna's eternal servitor, somebody who's supposed to be an instrument in Lord's plan. Only then can we be truly happy. Otherwise, we are confused. So, our life should be to make this material world Vrindavan. We can stay in this material world and be unaffected by its these distresses, the Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmik, and Adi Devik. These three sufferings of material world, we can be free from that if we make our life's purpose to please Krishna rather than trying to please this false temporary body. That is the difference. If we see what is the difference between a house and a temple, like Vincent, you're sitting in a temple, right? A temple is made out of the same brick and the same cement as the house next door. If you look next door, you'll see it's the same brick, same house, same roof, same water, same drainage system. Everything is the same. What is the difference between the temple and an ordinary house? The difference is that in the temple, everything is done for the pleasure of Krishna. There is arati, there is food offered to Krishna, there is songs sung for Krishna, there is the names of Krishna, holy names of Krishna that is chanted. People are coming and discussing about Krishna. All these things, people are listening about Krishna. The center of the temple is how to please Krishna. That's the entire way. But the house next door, the center of the house is how to please the person staying inside. He will buy expensive alcohol, champagne. He will buy good food and very materialistic coffee machine and brand new plasma TV and this and that for his own pleasure. So that is the difference between material world and Vrindavan. That in Vrindavan, everything is pleasure, done for the pleasure of the Lord. And that's when a soul can be truly happy, even though he's performing in this material world. You don't need to run to some hill or in the pretext of becoming a saintly person, just run away from your material responsibilities. You can go ahead and do that without being affected. Just like a lotus, if you see, even though it's growing in a swamp area, it's untouched by the dirt. It's growing very beautifully in a dirty place. Similarly, we also are untouched by the material world then and the sufferings. We are completely in our life is now, revolving around the pleasure of Krishna. And that is when we get prema. Prema is love. There are two, you are either in this world, you either have got love or you have got lust. Most of the people in this material world have lust. Lust is how can I give myself pleasure. People who are drinking alcohol, smoking, working day and night to earn money, to buy a big house, to enjoy in that. All these methods of enjoyment is lust, trying to exploit material nature. But love is something very beautiful, something very transcendental. Love for Krishna is where everything action that you do for Krishna is giving you and Krishna a lot of joy. You do things selfless devotional service, unalloyed, selfless devotional service. That is love. And when you have love in your life, then your life is actually meaningful. Otherwise, you're just going about life trying to exploit one material thing from the other. Oh, today I didn't enjoy, I bought this, I didn't enjoy here, I will go here now. In fact, the workplace, the place where I work, I listen to my colleagues talking, and their entire life revolves around this only. How can I find enjoyment? Oh, I went to this cinema, I watched this movie, this was okay, now let me watch the next movie. Oh, Netflix, this is boring, I want to watch this. I ate this from this restaurant, now I'll try this. They're just trying to exploit material nature, and they look very depressed. It's a very shallow, pathetic life actually. But when you have love in your life, everything in your life is very blissful, very joyful. And that is actually the goal. Nobody wants to, like bhakti, we think bhakti is something very boring, very ritualistic. Wake up, do some prayers, offer some worship and be very, strict and all that. They don't realize actually that the purpose of bhakti is joy, love, happiness. That is the main goal. We try to push that to the side, that you work day and night, and then with that money you try to get false sense of joy and happiness, not realizing that joy and happiness is something that is essential to the soul and very natural. If we do that with selfless service, acts, selfless acts, we are not doing anything for our selfish desires, we're doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, then our life becomes very meaningful, very happy. Every moment of your life will be very joyful and very blissful. You're not going to be affected by material ups and downs. So demon means non-devotee. Demon means somebody who denies God. Demon is somebody who doesn't want to believe in God. He doesn't want to follow these principles. He wants to live by his own whims and fancies, not knowing that that is causing his own bondage. He's now getting stuck in material world more and more. Demon is trying to make progress in life, not knowing what is the actual progress in life. If you ask a demoniac person what is progress, and say, "Oh, I want a big car, big house, good wife, a lot of alcohol, and my life is successful now." That is the idea of demoniac. They don't actually know what is actual success. They don't know what is actual progress in life. They are making up with their own ideas, and the ideas are the base origin of these ideas is sense enjoyment. So there are two margs in bhakti. There is the pravritti marg, and then there's a nivritti marg. So people who are making, they say that people who are making steady progress to go to hell, live sinful lives and then get the sinful reactions. They are in the pravritti mark. They are devoid of understanding God. They don't care about God. They don't care about scriptures. They don't care about rules and regulations. Their only botheration in life is how can I make myself happy? How can I be the enjoyer? So that is pravritti mark. And nivritti mark is the path that we are in, Krishna consciousness, where we are moving. Other in general you are in animal consciousness where you're desiring sense gratification just like any other animal. Even an animal has demoniac qualities. If you see, a dog is very proud. If a dog is walking and it sees another dog in the vicinity, it will start barking and attacking it. Why? Because just proud. Oh, who do you think you are to come into my area? I run this area. Who do you think you are to come over here? And he'll start barking, attacking. So these demoniac qualities are actually existing in us, but it should be our goal in life to get rid of these demoniac qualities. We have to work our way to get rid of these demonic qualities by cultivating divine qualities, by cultivating good qualities, so we can come in this nivritti marg. The path of a nivritti marg is basically cutting down your sense gratification. I want to enjoy like this, I want to enjoy like that. We When we come into the nivritti marg, we cut down our sense gratification, we follow principles. No meat eating, no illicit sex. We control, we regulate our life rather than just giving into sense gratification like mad. Whenever I feel like I get up, whenever I feel like I eat. No, we add some morals, some rules and regulations into our life, and with those rules and regulations, then we can actually create a good framework for our life to work in the path of liberation. If we just do things as per our whims and fancies, then it is a straight path to hell. Um, so that is the philosophy of Nivritti Marg. You can, if you desire to be devoid of God, you can be in the family of saints and you will still be very demoniac. Similarly, if you actually have a very sincere love for God, then even if your surrounding is full of demons, you will become a very divine person. We can see this example in Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy who was born in a family of demons, namely Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was where he was had a lot of austerity and lot of he had a lot of boons given to him by Lord Brahma, where he had actually a lot of power, where he could almost control everything in the universe. The demigods used to be scared by Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu falsely thought that he was the enjoyer, he was the controller. He denied the existence of God. He said, "What do you mean there's God? Look at how powerful I am. I can just raise my eyebrows, and the strongest people in the universe get scared of me. That's how powerful I am. Who is this God? How dare you try to say that there's some God who is more powerful than me?" And his son Prahlad was a very strong devotee of the Lord. He was completely surrendered to the Lord, and he spent since childhood he started his devotional service, bhakti towards God. When his father came to know, he tried to torture his son in so many ways by trying to burn him, poison him, throw him in a bed of snakes, so many things. However, every time he was protected by the Lord, because the Lord always protects the devotees. And even though his son was born in a family of demons, had such strong desire for service of the Lord that he was untouched by these demoniac qualities. He was the most divine person in this demoniac family. And in the end, the Lord incarnated to kill Hiranyakashipu, the demon who was torturing a devotee of the Lord, and he protected the devotee. So that is actually the strength of being a devotee of the Lord, by being surrendered unto the Lord. Where when you are no longer bothered by your own selfish desires, and now you're only dedicating your life to play for the pleasure of Lord, then Lord takes personal interest in your life, and then He actually makes endeavors for you to actually have a smooth journey ahead. Now, I covered everything, I think. Um so these qualities actually we need to cultivate. We already have a lot of demonic qualities in the Kali. Everybody is sort of a demon. Everybody has demonic qualities in them, but we should make endeavors to now get these divine qualities by the process of bhakti. Bhakti is not some idealistic path where, oh, I'm just trying to do this like worshipping God to escape my material desires. That's not the path of bhakti. Bhakti is actually moving from this bodily consciousness to now serving the Lord, God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Nivritri Marg, where you follow some rules and regulations. You go according to the scripture. You read the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. And then from there you gain knowledge. This knowledge actually removes the darkness and the ignorance and destroys your demonic qualities and gives you divine qualities. When you have divine qualities, you have like the lens to actually see the correct path for you, and then you can walk on that path. And you can stay on this path by chanting the holy names of Lord, like Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which we did at the beginning of the class, by reading scriptures, by attending satsang. Satsang is basically when we discuss on scriptures, like what we are doing right now. This is satsang. This is giving us tremendous benefit. Not we don't realize it, but just by listening about knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the instructions of Gita, we are getting tremendous benefit. And that is giving us divine qualities. We automatically then start cultivating divine qualities, which eventually help us in getting free from the cycle of birth and death, and also helps to get back to the true identity. We don't take up any more false identity, and we don't take up material bodies. Now we get self-realized, and then we are free from the material sufferings. So with that, I'll conclude. From next class, I think we can continue this chapter only because there are still some important points that I thought we can cover. It's a very interesting chapter actually. Kanika, are you still there? Hare Krishna. Okay, I
Yeah,
think.
I'm sorry, I'm still
Okay.
here.
Yeah. I would like recommend you, if you can, get the physical copy of Bhagavad Gita, get some beads, and try to chant at least like how many ever rounds you can do. This will actually give you a lot of benefit even in your daily life. If you're a working professional, it will give you a lot of benefit in your life. It will give you sort of clarity in mind, and give you a boost to go about your day. So whenever you can, go past the temple, get those chanting beads, and at the same time, in your free time, I would recommend if you could go through the first verse of this chapter, this one. So, chapter 16, verse 1 to 3, just have a read through it. It is a very interesting verse. It covers a lot about the divine qualities. Yeah, it's a very interesting read and lots to learn from this. So, yeah, in your free time, try to do that. Try to get the beads and start chanting. You will naturally, practically be able to see how much benefit you're getting from that. With that, I'll conclude. Anybody has any questions? Any doubts? Shohel, Vicente, Kanika, any questions?
Mm, No, so it was all clear and precise.
Okay, that's good to hear. What do you think of the class? Were you able to follow?
Yes, I was able to follow. I'll probably give a read to the verses again so that I can have a better understanding.
Yeah, you read the verses, then it will make more sense to you.
Yeah.
You will be able to understand much better. And if you where do you stay, by the way? Is it close to the temple?
It's kind of far away. I live in Campbelltown. It's in.
Oh, Campbelltown is pretty
Yeah.
far. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not an issue. Just whenever you are happening to be near the temple or planning to visit the temple,
Mhm.
just get the bead bags. It's should be what, like $10 or something. Just get some chanting beads and try to chant as much as you can. There's no hard, and if you're beginning, just do
Mhm.
as much as your time allows you. But it's a lot of benefit. Like both Shohel, Vicente have been chanting. And Vicente, have you seen any benefits from chanting?
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you do it like without pause in between, it gets even more powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's very, very.
Relaxes. Yeah. It comes to mind.
Shohel, how have you seen any benefits from chanting now?
Plenty of benefits, yes.
Yeah, see, he didn't
Thank
take
you.
even the second two. He's just, yeah, plenty of
Hmm.
benefits. Because this chanting, the vibration is very, very powerful in this age of Kali Yoga, where we are. So there's so much shortage of spiritual knowledge and understanding, and there's so much illusion around us. So many misconceptions, so many demoniac qualities around us. Um, and this chanting is the simplest method given to us for cultivating our realization of God and cultivating divine qualities. Naturally, if one chants, he starts over a point, he starts losing interest in his previous demoniac tendencies which he had, and now he's he starts cultivating divine nature. Even Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says that one who is now in this path of devotional service, who's chanting my holy names, even though he might have some demoniac tendencies from his past habituations, he gradually starts losing them. He is to be considered saintly. That's what's given in the Gita. So this chanting is actually very, very beneficial, not only in spiritual life. I mean, obviously in spiritual life, even in your material life, it helps you in concentration, attention. It gives you a clarity of mind, positivity, rejuvenation, all of that. So I would highly, highly recommend that. And if you stay too far, just read the Gita. The Gita has so much knowledge. It's like every page of the Gita is nectar. It's so much knowledge. Okay, I'll conclude the class. Thank you all for joining. I hope all to see all of you next class. And Vicente, I'll let you know about the retreat. I'll just talk to Ghanshyam Prabhu and get back to you. I want you
Hare
to
Krishna,
come.
Prabhu.
Yeah, I want you to leave with some good memories, and it'll be a lot of fun. It's genuinely very fun. It's a 2 night stay. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, looking forward to seeing all of you in the retreat, and most possibly seeing you next Wednesday. Kanika, please try to make it next Wednesday. The more you attend this, you'll actually be able to follow more and more and understand and apply in your practical life. Okay, Hare